When Brian over at Brian's Flying at YouTube sent me a vintage Hirobo Shuttle to see if I could get it flying a couple years ago, I was happy to oblige. He even gave me a flight box kit to build. Well, the shuttle came. It was missing the engine and the cooling fan, but there was a nice black OS muffler in the box. In one of my Concept 30s, I had a Super Tiger G34 from Italy, so I decided to see if I could fit it in. Well, the flight box was a challenge right away, as a whole bottle of jet superglue leaked in the box years ago, and these are the results. Modifying the helicopter for this engine was a challenge for sure, but finally I got it together. But then I could never get it started. I tried, only to finally break the starting belt last week. With no replacement parts available, I had to improvise to make this video. You'll see how. I'll have measured and cut out the hole for the power panel, stained it, and put a battery in it. We're ready to go. Well, the fan was missing, so I made one out of an old shredder motor. When I tighten the clutches, I usually remove the back plate, put a soft aluminum rod in the center hole of the crank to keep it from turning, and then tighten down the prop nut. That's the only real best way to do it. I also had to widen the muffler holes and relocate the engine mounting blocks so the engine and clutch lined up perfectly with the belt. Well, as luck would have it, this belt finally broke last week when I was trying to get it started. I tried many different things: shoestrings, neoprene, hose, rope, wire. Well, I finally went out to Sibley Equipment, the John Deere dealer, looking for a small belt. What I got was several sizes of O-rings. Ryan found one that looked like it would work, but it would take practice because the backward stretch tries to stop the engine when it's running. So here's a quick look at the rest of the build, including the rotor head and radio installation. I built a throttle hold servo for this one too, just like I did in my last Nexus 30 video. Since the pitch and throttle servos are connected with the Y harness, there's no way to separate them on a one servo 90-degree swash plate setup. Most radios today can't even do that, as the 3 servo 120-degree setup is prominent. My servo has a micro switch wired to cut the throttle servo's power when I hit the retract switch. So I've assembled the tail rotor, and I've tightened the belt, and I've made sure it turns the right way. And lastly, I will balance the blades on my gram scale. So here we go.
Okay folks, here's the shuttle. This is the antique helicopter that was sent to me by Brian, Navy SEAL. We're going to put gas in it. It's a Nitro version. He also sent me this flight box. So I had to build that. As you see, you need a lot of sport equipment for a gas helicopter, and in the early days, like when these helicopters came out, not only was it difficult to learn to fly a helicopter with no gyro, you had to know how to make the engine run too. Because if the engine quits in the air, pretty much the earth is your enemy. So let's put some gas in it and see if we can get it started.
It took almost 2 years of trying to start this helicopter among many friends who watched before I finally figured out what was wrong.
I'm going to show you what the problem is. Okay, it's a brand new Fox standard glow plug. I'm going to turn that on. Pretty neat. Got the indication. You can see the glow right here. Okay, this thing has a starter. It has a fuel pump. Now, two things that are bad. You can plug the same plugs into the starter, and that's 12 volts to the plug, but definitely blows that up. But I'm going to show you. That's got a nice glow on it right now. I'm going to turn it up even so you can see it a little more. Set this down here and show you what happens when you turn the starter. Now, I just finished charging this battery in the unit. I'm going to hold the starter, but when you load it, the whole glow plug goes out.
Electricity always takes a path of least resistance. In this case, all the juice goes to the starter and the glop fades.
a separate power supply to run the glow plug. Now things are done electronically. It's a whole lot easier to do. But if you're having trouble and you've got a power panel like this, looks sharp and everything, but worthless. Now, the problem with this helicopter is extremely hard to get to the glow plug because it's clear in there and you can't put a clip or anything on it. You have to use a remote thing.
And I'm still having problems with the G34 needle setting. It won't stay running, so I've decided to put my trusty OS32 from my Nexus in the heli at this point, since it's been running already in my Nexus. And that was more major modifications to put that OS engine in. Believe me. I'll run the Super Tiger on the bench so I can get those needles right and then put it back in. But you know, we Marines never give up. There's no better reward than succeeding in the end. One good thing about using castor oil in the fuel, which is smoky, is it makes a good wind indicator, so you can see which way the wind is coming from and how breezy it really is. If you're a beginner, try to imagine what I'm doing with the sticks on my transmitter as I fly. It's good practice, because staying oriented is everything. And as usual, you can do all the wild and crazy flying you want, showing off, but if you can't get back, it doesn't mean anything. And that's the importance of learning to hover very well before you go out and try to do anything else. Because crashes are important too. You know, every flight is a test, and every crash is a lesson. Well, I'm never going to do that again. And no need to start out with a fancy helicopter. Learn on a Volkswagen. If you never crash it, then you can get the Porsche. Many people learned to fly on the shuttle, but it was not the best. It was hard to start. You couldn't see the fuel in the tank. The glow plug was almost inaccessible, and it could only do mild 3D, but it was fun. So thanks a lot, Brian, and for all you people watching, I hope you enjoyed the nostalgia of this look back. So relax and enjoy the rest of this flight like I did. So stay tuned, folks, for more RC television shows. Hope you enjoy it.